You're tuned into the Visibility Strategy live stream with Amy Nubson and Christina Vidovich, where strategy meets storytelling and confidence takes the spotlight. Join us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern as we help you set sail on your visibility journey. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today, and welcome to this episode of Visibility Strategy. I'm Christina.
And I am Amy. We are so excited to have you here today because we're talking about wins. Yay! Yes. I love talking about wins at the end of the month. What a great way to end the month every month is to recognize some of the things you've done. But what if you bring story into it? How does that make a bigger impact, Christina?
Ooh, it makes a beautiful impact because through story, we have the opportunity to really develop what it is about our win. Set the setting, set the picture, give the feeling and emotion, and bring you in.
Thank you guys for real man. Yes, that's the beauty of a story. It's a totally different way, than just expressing something. And it lands in a different way and we hear it. We're actually open to hearing it. That's what's really interesting. It's like being asked a question versus told what to do.
Yes.
Right? One we kind of push back on and one we lean into. Same thing about the idea of sharing a win through story invites us in. We lean forward. We're tell us more.
Yeah.
But we're just telling you about it, and we're not involving ourselves, or we're talking about it, and it feels a little disconnected.
Yes, yes. Well, and it's interesting because I'm thinking about my recent win for the month.
Yay!
We get to do the reaction time, right? We go. So I had a wonderful opportunity to speak this past weekend at the Boss Brunch. So bringing that in, it's like, okay, how do I want to frame that story? So I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to let Amy, our storytelling coach, kind of help us frame what a story would look like. So Amy, I spoke this weekend in a room full of other entrepreneurs. And one of the things that was a win and different for me is using slides to tell my story. I, as a dancer, am very storytelling through my body. So this was a different thing for me to have a clicker in hand and not get distracted by a clicker, but still remain engaged with my audience and my body as I was trying to come across and tell my story of confidence, presence, clarity, and visibility. So what's a good way that I can reframe how to tell that story of my win?
Yeah. So here first, how did the audience react?
Really well. So as a speaker, you want to get that feedback, right? So when somebody came up and said, I really liked it, I stopped and asked why. So what they liked about it is it was interactive. I did some interactive pieces, and I even had a comment online that somebody said, oh, I love that you made it interactive. So that was definitely a win. People participated. People got up when I asked them to get up and be part of my talk.
And did you make it interactive because of the clicker and the slides and the new challenges that you had?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I was using the slides as my prompt to get them so that they knew when they stood up, what are we trying to accomplish? I used pictures as well as words.
Yep. So what we want to do is when we're thinking about this story, think of all the different aspects of the story, right? That's why I asked Christina more questions. So a story like this could go something like, have you ever been challenged with something new, even though you absolutely love doing it, and then there's a new element gets thrown in there and you're like, how do I do that? Well, I love speaking in front of everybody, and then I got told I had to have slides. Never did slides before. How do I interact with people and the audience with slides when this is a new aspect of myself? And I had to sit and think about it. And I thought, oh, what if the slides were my prompts to get acting with me, to get them engaged with me? And now I have a new way to get the engagement even bigger than before. And that's what I did this last week, boss brunch, right? I got everybody involved, and people came up to me loving the experience and how interactive it was. The slides were not a distraction, which I always kind of thought they would be. Instead, I included them into my storytelling, into my presentation, and it was a huge success. So something like that is how you could tell a story.
Yes.
Because we make it human in the beginning. Like, I don't want to use slides, but I was challenged to do so.
Yes. And that's exactly what I love what you just did, is taking that real human element, the relatable element, the feeling that, oh my gosh, we've all been in that place where, this is uncomfortable.
Right? Yeah, you go from a stage of 10 people to 200 people. It's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? There's new challenges every day. And there is some fun when somebody gives you a new challenge and you're like, okay, how do I integrate this? And you have to sit with it for a while and figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? And now it sounds like you are willing or excited about bringing slides into a presentation when it's appropriate.
Yes.
It's no longer a resistance.
Exactly, which is the outcome of the story, right?
Right? Otherwise, it would have been like, okay, try again. I'm glad it really worked out for you.
Yes. And I love it because, honestly, what is from my perspective, and we know this, we've sat through slideshows and slide presentations where people are so stuck on their slides. And that is the dry professor, I'm just reading from the textbook. When, wait a minute, I could just read the textbook. And I didn't want that. So that also became part of my story creation of what I wanted to portray up there, of going, you know what? I am a visual person. That's also why I made sure to add pictures of someone up there who was presenting confidence.
Right.
Because that was one of the things I'm talking about. So is a woman smiling with her hand out, ready to shake it. So that to me was so much more impactful. So I could look at that and go, okay, this is what I need to describe. So I also need to tell a story behind that visual, because the words are not going to do it. It's like story time, like picture books for children.
And that's how PowerPoint actually should be, right? Prompts, ideas, quick references. But it's not to tell our story, because that's what we're there for in the moment. That's what we're there on stage doing.
Yes.
That's our job, not the
Yes.
PowerPoint's job. So I love that you really embraced it, because I got the background, of knowing that you were like, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to come across this way. But you made it your own.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea of being visible, is making it your own. How do you incorporate the tools, the technology, the space, and own it your way? Not somebody else's way, but your way.
Yes, absolutely. And what a wonderful even story for me, from a beginning, middle, and end, to go, now that I've been through that as well, I can really relate to somebody else who for that first time is going through that slideshow, and be able to go, okay, don't worry, my friend, we can get through this story even more impactful. Because look, that's what Amy and I do. We help you show up on stage. We help you show up on camera. We help you develop the stories that are going to be impactful and help your visibility. There's me tripping on words. And with that note, Amy, when we get back from our dance break, that is our introduction to our visibility accountability, I want to have you help us talk about more stories that help us connect with our audience through our wins and telling stories. So here we go. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. I'm looking for the role. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, you can join us for Visibility Accountability Group and get your visibility.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light, ignite your flame, show up, shine out, it's time to be heard, flip fear into power with every word, visibility, accountability, we write a wild new legacy.
So welcome back, Amy.
Oh, yes. I mean, the idea of celebrating your wins and sharing it with others, right? Because we've all been told this as kids, at least I have, stop bragging, right? The idea of telling what we're super excited for, and then you just get shut down. And so I never really knew how to express what I was doing. Because in my mind was like, stop bragging, always played over and over and over again. So it wasn't until I learned storytelling that I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't bragging. This is just sharing what's going on in my world. And people are like, how are you doing? I'm like, fine. Like how I didn't know how to respond. It's one of the, so I was like, good, like now I'm like, ooh, I could tell them a story or express what's happening. They do it through more of a storytelling technique, which makes it much more interesting. So you don't have to have a full story, like perfectly planned out, to use the techniques to answer a question like, how are you doing? Or, what are you working on right now?
Yes.
Those kind of questions trip people up. And they're so common. It's part of our language that we don't even realize we're asking the question. So we can use these stories to go, okay, what am I working on? What is the challenge that I'm doing? How am I overcoming it? Like those are the three things you can think about to answer those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Just like your example this morning was perfect. The idea was, the challenge was, hey, I have new slides. I don't want to use slides, but I have to use them. Here's the challenge. Here's what the solution that I did. And this is the win that came out of it. This is the success. Or maybe sometimes it's the failure too, because that's interesting as well.
Right. Where something can trip you up. And it's interesting because we've talked about this before. It's not necessarily failure, it's a lesson. So it's more or less something that was not the outcome that you were expecting, but a different outcome. I love reframing.
Yeah.
But what can we learn from that, of saying, oh my gosh, it is not what I expected to happen? Because what if something happened, for example, the clicker stopped working or the computer lost power in the middle of it, and suddenly you have to work to recover. You can't depend on those visual prompts.
Yep.
And you can't go run and get your iPad or your computer or your notebook and notes. You've got to know what it is. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that we talk about in our storytelling too, Amy, is when we get away from those things, where is that coming from? It's coming from our heart. It's coming from the real life experience. It's not the script that we have memorized.
Exactly. And if you have a word for word script and you do trip yourself up, keep going with this. If you have to do word for word, keep going through the whole presentation and then start again. Don't stop and start, because what we're doing is we're training our brain to go, oh, I made a mistake, start over.
Yeah.
Instead, we need to be like, nope, keep going. The whole idea is to train our brain to basically adapt in the moment as things happen. Like you said, I've seen so many presentations where their tech does not work, like either PowerPoint or something doesn't work. And then they're apologizing and they get more flustered. And then before you know it, they're 10 minutes into the presentation and they're like, I guess I'll just start. And all of us were like, just go. It's okay. But when you are depending on those tech, it is really hard for people to flip and switch out of it. And it's okay because I mean, it happens to all of us. Our technology doesn't work.
Yes. And it's a perfect opportunity to bridge into that connection of going, oops, it wasn't exactly how I planned it. And instead of beating yourself up and getting stuck in that swirl, to be able to move forward and say, hey guys, be honest. I think
Yeah.
that is one of the things that we forget about, is just being honest that this is what I was planning. It's not working. Give me a minute to regroup and have that plan, just like, okay, I can do this. And that's where that confidence piece comes in.
Exactly. It's not like we don't trip ourselves up here on our conversations. We do it all the time, but we laugh ourselves and we keep going. But also, one of the things I teach too is if you need a moment, like say you get emotional or you do trip yourself up, take a breath, take a couple deep breaths, and then keep going. And if you feel like you really need to say something, just say thank you for giving me a few moments to collect myself. Thank the audience instead of going, I'm so sorry, I got really emotional. I'm like, we can tell that.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. We'll wait.
Yeah.
The audience will wait with you.
Yes.
Especially if you do it with grace.
Yes, yes. And that's the beauty too, is back to the whole idea of wins, is we don't realize people are waiting for us. They're waiting to celebrate us. It is us who gets in our own way sometimes of sharing our wins and sharing our story. We're the ones who are like, oh, it's like, no, celebrate. We're here.
Every month, every day, celebrate, get it into a routine. And sometimes it is nice when you look at like testimonials is a great
Yes.
way to celebrate a job well done or an experience well done, right? But we don't think about we have the control over those testimonials. And it's like, yes, you can. I don't know how many times I've written a testimonial for my own self and said, do you agree with this? And they're like, oh my God, you wrote it exactly the way I want it, or they'll edit it, right? And that's okay because what we want to do is celebrate it, but we don't also want to put a burden on somebody else to make that happen for us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with asking or saying, hey, do you agree with this? I love telling testimonial stories about my clients because it showcases them and it's such a beautiful way. Also, I get to showcase my skills and I get to control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I tell it in story form.
Yes.
So why not? Enjoy it, play with it, be those successful moments and go, how can I showcase this in a different way?
Absolutely. And I love, we've talked about it before too, is word choice. Fine. Let's make it more colorful. What is fine? Oh my gosh. It's amazing. How is it amazing? Well, I walked into the room and was welcomed. Someone came up right away and introduced themselves, which gave me the confidence to go over and meet more people because I was welcomed. There's a story that doesn't have any other context, but you were there with me, right?
Right. And you're like, well, where were you? I want to go in that room, right? So that's the thing is we can also, when we tell a story or reframe instead of just fine is a stop conversation. There's no, like, what do you do with that? It takes a good questioner to continue the conversation. And even then, if it's too much work, people stop asking you questions. But if you can say something like what Christina did, there's more questions that can be asked and a conversation can be brought into existence. Instead, you just shut it down with the word fine. It's good. and then eventually you go to the weather and you're like, that is a dead conversation, right?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, my friends, this is the conclusion of our visibility strategy today, but it is not the end.
No.
You need to join us for our visibility accountability group Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And guess what? The tickets are going on sale this Friday from Minneapolis. So we look forward to for you joining us and us joining each other in the room in Minneapolis. We will be at the lounge at the Mall of America. If you have never been to the Mall of America, now is the time to go and enjoy, right? Roller coasters in the middle of the mall, so many shops, food opportunities by the airport, hotels accessible by, I was going to call them trolleys, the buses.
Shuttles, we're going shuttles. There we go.
Good choice.
Yes, super easy accessibility to get to the mall, to get to your hotels. Love that the space is grand, but it also allows you to have lots of choices and enjoy and have entertainment all in one spot.
Yes. So join us June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2026 at the Women Getting Visible Conference in connection and partnership with Amy of New Fire Collective. I'm so excited about the partnership that we have going on, Amy, for this event and for events beyond.
Of course, there's more to come.
Yes. All right. So we will see you this evening on tonight's call. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Christina.
And I'm Amy.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light, ignite your flame, show up, shine out, it's time to be heard, flip fear into power with every